On the second day of our marriage, my wife's lips found another man's. But even this was not enough for her. Alright, Reddit, buckle up, because this is going to sound like some bad Netflix drama, but it's my actual life. My name's Daniel, 29. 2 weeks ago, I thought I was living the dream. I just married Sophia, 26, this gorgeous, magnetic woman who somehow agreed to marry a guy like me. We had a Pinterest-perfect wedding, everyone said we were that couple. And we flew off to Italy for our honeymoon like something out of a travel ad. Sophia's always been high energy. Loves attention, loves being in the center of everything. I've always been more low-key. I'm the guy who plans the trips, makes the reservations, handles the boring stuff. She's the one everyone notices first. And honestly, I liked it that way. We landed in Sorrento, checked into this insane resort overlooking the sea. Whitewashed balconies, lemon trees, the works. Day 1, we're sipping cocktails on the terrace. Day 2, we're taking pictures in front of the Amalfi Cliffs. Day 3, I make the rookie mistake of eating a plate of questionable seafood from a beach shack. By midnight, I'm on the bathroom floor, sweating like I just ran a marathon in a sauna. Fever, chills, stomach twisting itself inside out, the whole package. The resort doctor says it's food poisoning, tells me to stay in bed and drink fluids. Sophia plays Florence Nightingale for about half a day. Then I notice she's getting twitchy, checking her phone, sighing dramatically. That evening, she says she's going for a short walk to stretch her legs. She kisses my forehead, says she'll be right back. I didn't think much of it at the time. She's not the type to sit in a room for long, and I was too weak to care. But looking back now, that was the first crack in the glass. By the second night of being stuck in that damn hotel room, I felt like I was losing my mind. My fever had dropped, my stomach was calmer, and I figured a short walk wouldn't kill me. The air outside was warm, that kind of salty breeze that makes you feel like you're finally alive again after being sick. I wandered down toward the waterfront, just to see the lights. The promenade was buzzing, tourists laughing, clinking glasses, live music drifting from the cafes. I passed one place with tables spilling onto the cobblestones, candles flickering. And that's when I saw her. Sophia. Sitting at a table with some tanned, dark-haired guy who looked like he just stepped off a cologne ad. He was leaning in close, hand on her wrist. She was laughing, that big, flirty laugh she used to give me back when we first started dating. Then it happened. She tilted her head and kissed him. Not a polite peck. Not a, oops, we bumped lips, moment. A slow, deliberate kiss like the rest of the world didn't exist. My stomach clenched, not from food poisoning this time. I felt frozen, like my brain couldn't compute what my eyes were seeing. Newly married. On our honeymoon. And she's making out with a guy she met less than a week ago. I didn't go over. I didn't scream. I just turned and walked back to the hotel, every step feeling heavier. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the keycard in the door. Back in the room, I sat on the bed staring at the wall, wondering if I'd hallucinated it. But deep down I knew. The fever hadn't even fully left my body, and I'd just been sucker punched by the reality that my wife, my new wife, was already cheating. It was close to midnight when Sophia finally came back. She breezed into the room like she'd just been to a spa, not out sucking face with some Mediterranean Casanova. "Hey, babe," she said, tossing her purse onto the chair. "Feeling any better?" I just looked at her. "Where were you?" She didn't even blink. "Reading on the beach. There was this little fire pit thing going, super relaxing." I could still see it in my head, her hand in his, that slow kiss. "You smell like cologne," I said. She laughed. "Daniel, seriously? It's probably from the waiter who brought me a drink earlier." He leaned over to light the fire pit. Her delivery was flawless, confident, annoyed that I'd even suggest anything. She was good at lying, I'll give her that. But I knew what I saw. I wanted to push, to call her out right there, but I was still too rattled. My heart was pounding in my ears, my brain racing to figure out how the hell to handle this without turning our honeymoon into a public brawl. So I swallowed it. For the moment. Right, I said, lying back down. Must have been the waiter. She gave me a peck on the cheek and went to shower, humming to herself. I sat there in the dark, listening to the water run, wondering how someone could come back from kissing another man and be so damn casual about it. That was the moment I knew she wasn't just cheating. She was going to lie about it until the day she died, no matter what I caught her doing. The next morning, Sophia was up early, chipper as hell, talking about wanting to explore the little shops in town. She suggested I stay back and rest, just in case the fever comes back. Yeah. Sure. Over the next couple of days, the pattern repeated. She'd disappear for a walk or to grab a cappuccino, and be gone for hours. When she came back, she always had some touristy trinket to show me, like it was proof she'd been shopping. The perfume on her skin told a different story. One afternoon she forgot her phone in the room. While she was gone, I noticed it had connected to the resort's Wi-Fi. And here's the thing, we had a shared tablet that auto-synced photos from both our devices. When I opened the gallery, I found pictures that weren't meant for me. One was of her sitting at a cafe table, hair loose around her shoulders, wearing a sundress I hadn't seen her in before. The angle was from across the table. The next was a blurry close-up of her smiling, biting her lip. Then a shot of her legs crossed under the table, just enough of her thigh exposed to make the intent obvious. And then the kicker, a half-body selfie in a hotel mirror that wasn't ours. The top of her bikini was untied, her arm holding it just enough to cover herself. The caption, "Wish you were here, winky face." I didn't need to guess who you was. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the tablet. I took screenshots, emailed them to myself. I didn't want to confront her without proof I could hold on to, because something told me she'd find a way to spin it until I was the crazy one. By the time she came back with another little bag of souvenirs, I was already planning my next move. That night, I decided I'd had enough of her cute little walks. I waited until she was brushing her hair at the vanity, humming some pop song like she didn't have a care in the world. "Who's Luca?" I asked. The humming stopped. She glanced at me in the mirror, eyes narrowing just a fraction before she plastered on a smile. "Luca? Oh, just a guy I met in town. He works at one of the cafes." "Why?" I held up the tablet. "Because you're sending him half-naked pictures from some other hotel room." She spun in her chair. "Wow. Really, Daniel? You went through my stuff? That's pathetic. I saw you kissing him." I shot back. 2 nights ago. At the waterfront cafe. She actually laughed. "Oh my God, you're delusional." I was saying goodbye to a friend. "Italians kiss on the cheek, it's cultural. Maybe if you got out of the hotel more, you'd know that." "On the cheek?" I said. "With his hand on your thigh?" Her tone went from dismissive to condescending. "You're sick, Daniel. You've been sick for days, maybe you hallucinated it. And now you're snooping on my photos like some jealous ex-boyfriend from high school? Grow up." That was the moment I realized she wasn't going to crack. She was going to gaslight me into the ground until I either shut up or believed her version. So I did the only thing I could in that moment. I dropped it. Not because I believed her, but because I knew if I kept pushing right then, I'd explode and give her the satisfaction of making me look unhinged. But inside? I was already done. 2 nights later, we were supposed to have a special dinner at the resort's rooftop restaurant, her idea, probably to play the loving wife act one last time. I decided to go along, keep things civil, and quietly watch her. Halfway through the meal, her phone, which she always kept face down, lit up. I don't know if it was instinct or just luck, but I glanced at the screen before she snatched it up. It was a WhatsApp notification from Luca Redhart. "Can't wait to feel you again tonight." I didn't say a word. I just stared at her while she read it, her face frozen for half a second before she slipped the phone into her bag like nothing happened. "Everything okay?" I asked, my voice steady. "Yeah," she said, smiling that fake smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Just my mom checking in." "Your mom calls you babe in Italian?" Her jaw tightened. "I'm not doing this here. If you're going to be paranoid, we might as well just eat in silence." That was it for me. The little voice in my head that had been saying maybe you misunderstood, maybe you're overreacting, just shut off. I let her finish her wine, paid the bill, and walked back to the room without another word. She stayed out to take some night photos by the beach. I didn't bother pretending I cared. While she was gone, I emailed all the screenshots and synced photos to a hidden drive. I also started a fresh note on my phone titled Evidence, dates, times, what she'd said versus what I'd seen. I wasn't going to confront her again until I could blow every one of her lies to pieces in one shot. Because now, it wasn't just about finding out the truth. It was about making her choke on it. After that rooftop dinner, something in me shifted. I wasn't just a husband who'd been cheated on. I was a man sitting on a ticking time bomb, and I had no intention of defusing it quietly. Sophia had built this image back home, the sweet, adventurous newlywed, perfect Instagram wife. Her family adored me. My family had welcomed her like blood. The thought of her prancing around in that white dress just weeks ago, grinning for cameras, while she was probably already planning her little Italian fling, it made my skin crawl. So I decided that when this blew up, it wouldn't just be between us. Everyone would know who she really was. I kept playing the part, polite, calm, even affectionate in public. She must have thought she'd worn me down with her gaslighting, because her guard was slipping. She started leaving her phone unattended for short periods, maybe thinking I'd given up. I didn't snoop directly. I didn't need to. The sync tablet kept pulling in her photos and screenshots of her messages whenever she was on the resort Wi-Fi. I also made friends with a few of the resort staff. One of the waiters at the rooftop bar, Marco, was all too happy to talk when I bought him a drink. Turns out, Luca was a regular around the resort, known for charming female tourists. And according to Marco, Sophia had been spotted meeting him on the very first day we arrived, while I was checking us in at the front desk. That detail, that one burned. I asked Marco, casually, if he'd ever seen them together. He grinned and said, "Plenty," even offering to get me a picture next time. I told him not to risk his job, but inside I was thinking, yes. Get me everything. The game was changing. She thought she was in control, but she had no idea I was building the case that would blow her perfect little life apart. By the last 2 days of the trip, I had enough dirt to sink her for good, the photos from the sync tablet, the messages to Luca Redhart, Marco's little insider details. But then the universe decided to hand me one last, gift-wrapped piece of evidence. We were in the lobby, waiting for a shuttle to take us into town. Sophia said she forgot her sunglasses upstairs and rushed off. 5 minutes later, Marco came strolling by, glancing toward the entrance. He leaned in and murmured, "Your wife, she's across the street. Cafe Roma." I walked out the side door, kept to the shade, and crossed over to where I could see without being seen. And there she was, in that same damn sundress from the earlier photos, sitting with Luca. Only this time, she wasn't laughing. She was leaning in close, her hand on his neck, whispering something. Then he pulled her onto his lap like they were in some bad romance movie, and they kissed like they'd been doing it for years. It was so intimate, so practiced. Like I'd never existed. I didn't confront them. I pulled out my phone and zoomed in, snapping a dozen crystal-clear shots. Her hair tangled in his hands, his mouth on hers, her ring glinting in the sunlight. When she came back 10 minutes later, she was breathless, claiming the elevator was slow. I smiled, kissed her on the cheek, and told her we'd better hurry or we'd miss the shuttle. Inside, though, I was stone cold. No more doubt. No more, maybe I misread it. This was a full-blown affair, and I had every pixel I needed to prove it. The next morning, while she was packing, I backed up everything to a private cloud account and sent copies to my brother, Matt, with a short message. Don't ask questions yet. Just keep these safe. He called me 2 minutes later, furious, ready to fly to Italy. I told him no, not yet. The explosion needed to happen on my terms. By the time our plane took off for the States, I wasn't the same guy who'd landed there 2 weeks earlier. I wasn't sick, I wasn't naive, and I sure as hell wasn't playing nice anymore. We landed back in the States late on a Sunday night. Sophia was in a great mood, already talking about which honeymoon photos she was going to post first. She had no idea I'd been sitting next to her for 11 hours, scrolling through my evidence folder like a hitman polishing bullets. I waited until Thursday. Why? Because Friday was her mom's birthday dinner, a big, family and friends event she'd been bragging about for weeks. She wanted to show off as the glowing newlywed, complete with our Italy slideshow on her iPad. That afternoon, I sent out a group text to her family, my family, and a couple of mutual friends. Since Sophia and I are about to see everyone tonight, I thought you should all have a preview of our honeymoon highlights. Attached were the clearest, most incriminating photos I had. Her on Luca's lap at Café Roma, his hand on her thigh. The bikini top selfie with the "Wish you were here" winky face caption. The kiss on the promenade that had burned into my brain. I didn't add commentary. Didn't need to. Within 10 minutes, my phone was blowing up. Her mom in shock, my sister Jenna calling me a stone-cold legend. Her brother demanding to know if it was photoshopped. By the time we walked into that restaurant, the atmosphere could have been cut with a butter knife. Sophia stepped in smiling, then froze when she saw her dad glaring at her like she just robbed a bank. "What's going on?" she asked, eyes darting from face to face. Her mom slapped the table. "Why don't you tell us who Luca is?" Sophia looked at me like she wanted to kill me on the spot. "Are you kidding me right now?" I just smiled. It's cultural, right? Italians kiss on the mouth, sit in each other's laps, all that. She stormed out within 5 minutes. I ordered a beer and stayed for dinner. The next morning, I woke up to 14 missed calls, 22 text messages, and one long email from Sophia that started with, "I can't believe you would humiliate me like that," and ended with, "We can still work this out if you just apologize." Yeah. No. I didn't reply. Instead, I called my buddy Ryan, he's a divorce attorney, and told him I needed papers drawn up ASAP. We'd only been married 2 weeks, which made it easier. No joint accounts besides the honeymoon fund, no property in both our names. The only thing we had to split was Milo, my dog, and there was no universe where she was getting him. Sophia tried to spin it. She told her friends that I'd misinterpreted things, and that it was just a little harmless fun, because she was feeling lonely while I was sick. Harmless fun. On our honeymoon. The divorce papers were in her inbox by Monday morning. She called screaming, said I was throwing everything away. Over a kiss. I told her she should check her email attachments again, maybe the one where her top was untied would jog her memory. After that, she went silent. I moved back into my old apartment, the one I'd kept as a rental after the wedding. It was bare bones, but it was mine. I started hitting the gym again, partly to work off the stress, partly because I didn't want her. "You've let yourself go." Jab from months earlier rattling around in my head. Matt and Jenna came over with pizza and beer my first night back. We ended up laughing until midnight about the dinner party reveal. Jenna said, "Danny, you didn't just burn the bridge, you nuked it from orbit." It felt good. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I wasn't reacting anymore, I was steering. After the papers were served, I decided Sophia was going to get nothing from me, not even the satisfaction of seeing me pissed off. So I went ghost. Blocked her number, unfollowed and blocked on every social platform, even made my Venmo private because I knew she stalked people there. I told our mutual friends they could talk to her if they wanted, but my name was off limits. At first, she tried to poke holes in the wall. Just checking in. Email. A direct message from a burner Instagram account that she thought I wouldn't recognize. Her spelling mistakes gave it away. Even a voicemail where she sniffled about missing our friendship. Nothing. And here's the thing, for someone like Sophia, silence is louder than any shouting match. She thrives on attention, good or bad. Without me reacting, she had nothing to feed on. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding. Got back into running. Started cooking again, actual meals, not just sad takeout. Got a promotion at work because I was finally channeling all my energy into something that didn't involve keeping a marriage afloat by myself. The best part? Friends started telling me that Sophia was going through it. Cryptic Instagram quotes about betrayal. Partying way too much. Showing up to her job late. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not even a little. Every mess she was wading through was one she'd made herself. And for the first time, she wasn't dragging me down with her. About a month after going ghost, I signed up for a charity 5K my company was sponsoring. I figured it would be a good way to get out of my own head, maybe meet some new people who didn't know me as Sophia's husband. Race day comes, and I'm standing at the starting line feeling good, new running shoes, down 10 pounds, breathing easy. The gun goes off, and about halfway through, I noticed this woman pacing just ahead of me. Tall, athletic, wearing a bright red tank top with "Run for Rescue" on the back. We finish within seconds of each other, and she turns to me with this huge smile and says, "You've got a strong stride. I was trying to keep up with you the whole way." Her name was Erin. We ended up talking for almost an hour after the race, about running, about our dogs, about a taco place she swore had the best carnitas in the city. There was no pressure, no flirting for the sake of ego, just two people actually connecting. That night, I caught myself grinning while making dinner. Not because I thought Erin was the one, but because I felt alive. Like I wasn't this hollowed-out guy defined by what Sophia had done to me. It was the first time in months I looked in the mirror and didn't hear Sophia's voice picking me apart. I realized something then. Revenge had been satisfying, but rebuilding myself was addictive. Once that spark hit, I went all in. I doubled my gym sessions, started lifting heavy again, and even tried boxing classes. I cleaned up my diet, dropped another 15 pounds, and started sleeping better than I had in years. Then I tackled my wardrobe. My sister Jenna dragged me to a couple of stores and wouldn't let me leave with anything that looked like it belonged in my sad husband era. Slim-fit shirts, decent jeans, a leather jacket that actually made me look like I had shoulders, the works. Work was next. I'd been coasting for months before all this, just surviving the day. Now I was taking on projects, pushing for leadership roles, and it paid off. I got a bonus big enough to take a week-long hiking trip in Colorado. And of course, in the age of social media, word got back to Sophia. I wasn't posting anything directed at her, but I didn't hide it either. Pictures from trail summits, group shots from trivia nights, me in an actual suit at a client gala. A mutual friend accidentally mentioned to me that Sophia had made a snide comment at a party, something like, "Oh, I guess Daniel's having a midlife crisis early." But apparently, she couldn't hide that it was eating at her. Good. Let it. She tried to convince me I was boring, predictable, unworthy of excitement. Now she had to watch me become someone better than she ever deserved. And the best part? I wasn't doing it for her. Not anymore. It happened on a random Tuesday afternoon. I was at my desk, halfway through a spreadsheet, when Jenna texted me. "You're gonna love this. Call me." I stepped outside, called her, and she jumped right in. "So, apparently Sophia got fired." I blinked. "Fired? Doing what?" "Showing up late, skipping shifts. Word is she's been partying a little too hard." "Oh, and guess who dumped her?" I didn't even need to guess. "Luca." Jenna laughed. "Yup. And get this, he's already posting pics with some other tourist girl." Sophia's been ranting on Instagram about fake men and learning who your real friends are. I leaned against the wall and let it sink in. The woman who'd made me feel like I wasn't good enough, who'd humiliated me on our honeymoon, who thought she'd upgraded, was back at square one, and worse off than before. And here's the kicker. I didn't feel a rush of triumph. No gloating. Just this calm, solid sense of closure. Like the chapter had finally sealed shut. That night, I went for a run with Milo, then cooked dinner, poured a glass of wine, and sat on my balcony watching the sunset. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again. And she was no longer a part of it. It wasn't about her losing anymore. It was about me winning in a way she could never touch. If you told me back on that bathroom floor in Italy, feverish, sweating, clueless, that I'd be here now, I wouldn't have believed you. At the time, I thought losing Sophia would ruin me. Turns out, she was the dead weight. Looking back, the cheating was awful, but the way she tried to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy? That was the real poison. She wanted me doubting myself forever so she could keep doing whatever she wanted. That's the thing about people like her. They don't just want your love, they want control. And yeah, the revenge felt good. Watching her perfect bride image implode in front of both families was a top-tier-life moment. But the real victory wasn't humiliating her. It was walking away, building something for myself, and getting to a place where her name doesn't trigger a damn thing in me. If you're reading this and you're in that raw, shaking stage where you're questioning every choice you've ever made, listen to me. Document everything. Don't argue, don't warn them, just collect proof. Control the reveal. Drop it when it hurts the most, then step back. Go ghost. No contact, no reaction, no fuel for their fire. Rebuild like hell. Health, work, friends, become the version of you they hoped you'd never be without them. Because one day, you'll realize you didn't lose the love of your life, you lost the person keeping you from finding it. And that's the best loss you'll ever take. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.